Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Neighbor demands I pay for her flea treatment. After that, it's late. There are 5 minutes left before we close. The phone rings. And after that, am I the jerk for ruining a Father's Day celebration with my bad attitude? Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen has to pay for her own flea treatment. I have been scratching a lot lately, haven't I? So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Neighbor demands I pay for her flea treatment. Our dog gets treated monthly with vet-prescribed flea stuff. My neighbor, Jill, treats her cat's for fleas with a blend of essential oils and garlic. I dislike Jill, but I've always been courteous to her. I don't argue when she talks about things I don't believe. I restrained my laughter when she told me she cares so deeply about the environment, so she just had to protest at the summit in Glasgow. I didn't even point out the irony in driving 4 hours in a 4x4 to attend. She acts like a veritable Earth Mother, taking every chance to remind us she doesn't use chemicals, boasting she makes her own soap, laundry detergent, deodorant. Good on her. I mean, they don't work, but I applaud her for her efforts nonetheless. Her claims of environmentalism are somewhat undermined by her flying to and from London every fashion season to buy new clothes. We see her as a pretentious hypocrite, claiming to be vegan except when at an all-inclusive resort, claiming to love rescue animals, then paying thousands of pounds for pedigree cats, calling our spaniel a mutt because he came from a rescue charity, so we can't be sure of his origins. Last week, without asking if he was friendly or if it was safe for her 7-year-old to play with him, Jill's youngest kid ran up to my dog and started enthusiastically cuddling and clinging onto him. Luckily, he was well used to our kids, so was very gentle. Jill smiled indulgently. I fought the urge to say dogs with a different nature, someone could have gotten hurt. Sunday, Jill came to our door and said that she and the kids are covered in flea bites. I was like, right, thanks for telling me, and went to shut the door when she screeched, "From your mutt." A discussion ensued where she insisted our vet-prescribed flea prevention was inferior to her own mix of oils and garlic. I said, sounds delicious. Jill said she paid £250 to rid her house of fleas. I said, wow, garlic prices have really risen. When she insisted that we pay for the flea treatment, done by a company that uses chemicals by the way, I refused to pay. I reminded her that her kids hadn't even asked to get so close to our dog. She replied, oh well, what was I supposed to do? My sister says it was judgmental of me to reply, parent them. I felt 100% in the right. My wife supports me. My sister is like Jill, but with the actual principle follow-through. She thinks we dislike Jill's lifestyle, but it's her hypocrisy we don't like. But I'm now wondering if I was rude like she says. Well, I know I was, but I feel justified in it. Maybe I should pay half. Am I the jerk for being judgmental, sarcastic, or rude? My sister says I am. Not the jerk. If she loved animals, she'd know garlic is not safe for cats. She's shorting their lifespan by quite a bit. It's late. There are 5 minutes left before we close. The phone rings. I answered the phone right away. The customer asks when the restaurant closes. I say, it's 9:11 now. We need to have everyone out by 10. The lady on the phone says, well, great. I'm just going to walk over now. I'll order takeout when I get there. I quickly tell her, takeout ends at 9:15. I can quickly take your order now, put it in, and we will have it ready when you get here. She agrees. Okay, I'm going to order something I've had before. It was a veggie burger. Great. Was it our avocado? She is very hungry. I can hear it in her voice. No, it was just a veggie burger. Okay, can I put you on hold for a moment? I believe our only veggie burger at the moment is the avocado impossible, but I can double check for you. Seems impossible right now. Yes, do that. She already sounds smug. I can't quite explain it other than I know she's going to be difficult. She's on hold for about 30 seconds. I am right. The only vegetarian burger is the impossible one, so we can sub a veggie or impossible burger in place of a regular beef patty. I calmly tell her, thank you for holding. If you would not like the avocado burger, we can sub in a veggie burger or an impossible burger in place of any beef patty. Well, that's what I want. And I want it on multigrain bread, like I had it before. They put it on 2 slices of bread on each side, and they didn't charge me extra for it. I pause quickly. I'm honestly not quite sure what to say to what sounds like a lie, and I'm basically alone. Do you understand what I'm saying? She asks very bluntly. Yes, I do. Like they used 4 pieces of bread? I repeat what she said back to her. I think I can do that. Even if my manager tells me I should charge extra for more bread next shift, then I'll know for next time. Yes. Now, what do they usually have on these? The lady asks. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly what you want. She still has yet to clarify what burger she's going off of. Well, vegetables. What vegetables do they put on the burger? Like lettuce, tomato? She's talking to me like I'm 5. It's different for every burger, but yes, we do have lettuce and tomato, and we can add that to any burger. I want that. I want lettuce, tomato, no onion. I want that sauce you guys have too. Also, I don't want iceberg lettuce. I'm healthy. I only eat romaine, or what's that other stuff you guys have? I glance at the clock. It's 9:14. I'm off in 15 minutes, and I'm not supposed to ring in anything else past 9:15. I'm sorry, miss, do you have access to the internet? What you're describing really doesn't exist, and it's getting quite late. If you're able to check out our menu online, you can see what we have. I tell her as nicely as I can. I don't have a computer next to me. She's snapping. Honestly, I don't see what's so difficult about this. You said you close at 10. Yes, but travel and takeout closes at 9:15. I explain calmly. If you would like, you can come tomorrow. What am I going to do? Eat a burger at 7 a.m.? Is there anyone else I can speak to? There has to be someone. This is ridiculous. No, I'm the only person working takeout tonight, and I need to clean up by myself. That's going to take a while. Then I want to speak to your manager. My manager has gone home. You can phone them tomorrow, though. Good, I will. Respectfully, don't order things that don't exist 5 minutes before closing. Please just look at our menu first. I don't mind subbing a veggie patty in for a beef patty, and I don't mind subbing in bread for a bun. We can add lettuce and tomato to whatever burger you want. Modifications are fine. Making up a completely new item is not, especially not 5 minutes before closing and 15 minutes before I'm supposed to be going home. Am I the jerk for ruining a Father's Day celebration with my bad attitude? I'm female, and I turned 30 last Saturday. I haven't done anything for my birthday in the past nearly 8 years. I'm usually working. Well, this year, my sister-in-law invited me over on my birthday and said she was going to have a barbecue birthday party thing for me or whatnot. It was not even remotely what I wanted to do on my birthday, but I felt like I couldn't say no because she was hosting it and claimed it was for me, yada yada. Well, when my husband and I arrived, family members of his that not only have I never met, but he hadn't seen in years were there. A couple uncles and their wives, as well as other family members that I had met and I do get along with. My husband was super excited to see all these people that he hadn't seen in years, and at first everything was great, despite me being really overwhelmed. However, I did take into notice that not one single person said happy birthday to me, including my sister-in-law, and she had a banner along her door that said Happy Father's Day. By about an hour and a half in, and after my sister-in-law begged me to help her host this massive barbecue and help her cook everything, enough to feed 30 people, I was completely over it. I sat in a lawn chair outside and started browsing my phone. One of the uncles and my sister-in-law sit down near me, and he goes, "Thanks for having us for Father's Day. This is nice." My sister-in-law then turns to me and says, "OP, happy birthday." I just said thanks and kept scrolling my phone. The uncle goes, "Oh, happy birthday. You don't look like you're having much fun." So I said, "I'm not. I was told this was a birthday party for me, not a Father's Day celebration, and so far I've been hosting instead of enjoying anything when I could have been out having a fun day for myself." He goes quiet and looks at my sister-in-law before saying, "You told us this was for Father's Day." She turns beet red and says I shouldn't be souring the mood over something trivial and that the family is never able to get together like this, so she just combined the two events. So I get up and say, "Yeah, well that would have worked if you had told people that you were combining events, not just celebrating Father's Day, because no one here is aware that I even exist." I then get in my car and leave. My husband is upset because he said that I didn't have to make a big deal out of it because the relatives he hasn't seen in years now think I'm a drama queen, and he had to overly explain that I was just disappointed and it wasn't a conversation that he should have had to have. Am I the jerk? The car sales business is hard. Just give in and leave. This story is about my previous job at a dealer group, which I actually like pretty well. I wanted in at a particular brand and settled on working at a different store for 6 months and bugging the GM for a position at that one store I wanted to work at. The GM is a great guy and could see that I very much wanted to transfer over there and help me interview with upper management there, even though the 2 sales managers weren't really interested in a green pea, someone new to sales. They gave in after me persisting and gave me a sales position reluctantly. In my first week there, the older manager pulled me to his office, kicked his feet up, and said something along the lines of this: "Look, man, when you inevitably give up on this job, just don't bother showing up. You know how many green peas actually make it? None. Sales is a dying breed, and you don't seem to have enough of an edge to take it. You're too nice to be here. So do us a favor and just get out of here. Nobody gives notice in the car business." I took that to heart. My first month I hit commission and everybody was blown away. After over 2 years of fighting their top seasoned veteran for first place and winning a few times and making an absolute ton of money, my wife and I found out we were having a baby. As much as I love the job itself, having fun with my preferred brand in the process, gaining some loyal families and referrals, it was time to step away from the super high-stress job and focus on my family. It was a great experience, but always hindered by the sales managers trying to make me miserable. Some days I'd be laughing and chatting it up with my prospects and having a good time. They'd go out of their way to either mess with my deals or just upset me. Other coworkers told me that they frequently heard those managers complaining that I was too happy doing the work I was. As we got the news of our upcoming little one, I found out as well that the managers had been taking away bonuses I'd earned fair and square, called spiffs, from me for months during lockdown. It was definitely time to take the money and leave. At this point, I'd become the store's manufacturer-certified electric vehicle specialist and had the entire store's pre-order program running by myself. I was the only one certified to do it, and managers didn't know anything about the real process. January 1st, 2022 hits. I walk in 3 hours late for my shift, not wearing my normal business casual. I was never late more than a minute or two without letting them know, so they just assumed I was there, I suppose, and never went to check. Manager looks me up and down, looks at the clock, looks at me again, looks at the clock, and mumbles, "You're not dressed for work." "Yeah, because I don't work here anymore." Bewildered, he repeatedly asked me what I meant by that. I just told him I quit. Thanks for doing me out of my hard-earned bonuses for a year and for trying to do me out of my happiness. "But you can't quit like this. It's not like you to do that. Where's our notice? We only have a couple of guys left. We can't cover your shifts or your pre-orders." "Well, you see, I'm just doing exactly what I was told. Have a nice year without me." Am I the jerk for overstepping my boundaries with my husband when it comes to my stepdaughter? I'm 36, female, and my husband is 40, male. I have 2 kids from a previous relationship, and he has 3 kids from a previous marriage. We share a year-old daughter. My husband's previous wife passed over 8 years ago. Last Christmas, his kids asked me to adopt them. I was all for it, but I wanted to see what his daughter, who's 15, thought about it since she's had a tough year. She was very close to her mother and till this day still struggles. The kids are in routine therapy, so I just wanted to know how she would feel about it, given the last few months she's really been in a bad headspace. Coming from a daddy's girl who also lost her father at a young age, sometimes we're not good at accepting change, even when we say we are. Though she said she was still on board, I wanted to ask her one-on-one. She expressed to me that she had a change of heart. She felt as if she was replacing her mother. It hurt, but I understood and explained to her that I was in no way trying to replace her mother. I explained to my husband that I think we should wait on the adoption, or I should just adopt the boys. He wanted to know why, and I explained to him the talk that she and I had. He said fine. I came home, and my stepdaughter was in her room, all upset. All the kids were more than quiet, and I wanted to know why, because our home is rarely quiet, especially with 6 kids in the house. I'm used to coming home to a noisy house. I found my sons down in the basement playing on their games and asked why everyone was so quiet. He said that my husband and stepdaughter had a big fight about me adopting them. I immediately got upset. I confronted my husband and asked him why did he confront her. He said because she lied and changed her mind, that she needs to accept that her mother is gone. I lost it on him. I told him he wouldn't understand because he's never been through this, that she feels lost. She may even be depressed. This would be something new for her. I told him she would never get over this loss. I was furious he even responded that way. He said he didn't mean it that way, but I told him the damage was done. that he should be comforting her instead of being confrontational. He told me I was crossing boundaries, telling him how to deal with his kid. I told him, our kid. I begged and pleaded with my stepdaughter until she opened the door. I told her we didn't have to talk and that I just wanted to be near her, and I apologized for her father's behavior. She cried a little, and there were lots of hugs, and we talked about it. Though she and I are good, she still hasn't spoken to my husband in days, and neither have I. Now his family is taking his side. My husband is a Marine and can be harsh in his communicative delivery, which is no exception. I've had to explain to him that we're not his soldiers, but his family. Not the jerk. As a step-parent, you did everything right, going above and beyond. Your husband, on the other hand, messed everything up by confronting his daughter, whom you had already come to an understanding with. This will take a long time to fix. OP. My husband ran and told his family even about me hanging pictures of his late wife up, but they can buzz off because they have no say in our household. I would have added the conversation I had with his mother and sisters, but I was limited on what I could write. His mother felt that I was being disrespectful and not backing my husband, stating I basically gave my stepdaughter the authority of an adult, which is BS. I explained to her that I was my stepdaughter growing up, only I'd lost my father. There's nothing worse in the world than your feelings to be disregarded and not heard. I went through this with my own mother. I went through therapy and all. I told her my stepdaughter has every right to feel the way she does. Her feelings are valid. She told me that it wouldn't be long until my kids were running the household if I thought like that. I told her my kids' feelings will always come first, and it doesn't matter what she or anyone else has to say. His sisters call and give their input as well. Felt that no kid should be given that kind of a choice. That she should just obey whatever is being said by the parent. Wrong on so many levels. I don't feel that way. My mother had that same mentality, and it nearly destroyed me after my father passed. I asked them, are they aware that their niece lost her mother? That she's struggling daily, mentally and emotionally? They said that it's part of the process, and in time she'll be okay. To stop bending to her feelings, that I'm spoiling her. What? I kindly hung up and blocked them. May I add that my husband comes from a military household. His father, brothers, and one of his sisters are all military people, and they literally make me sick at how dismissive they are of my stepdaughter's feelings, which is one of the reasons now that my kids don't care to visit them. You want me to lie to prevent the guy who slipped on the ice from getting his claim? No. So I currently work in a petrol station. I came full circle when I left that job to try for something else and other reasons, but in the end did not work out and landed a job at another petrol station. This story is about the previous one I worked at, which is part of a supermarket during the winter. I arrive at work at 5:45 a.m. just as I walk across the forecourt, and next thing I'm like Bambi while trying not to fall down. Whilst doing this alongside of our duty manager, I said to him, "Hey, can you request the gritters, who we just passed gritting the main store car park, to maybe give us some love over here too? This could be dangerous for cars coming and going, but in the meantime, I'll just warn cars to drive slow and careful until the gritters come around." He says that's a good call and he'll do that. Well, of course he didn't, so here's what happened next. After a good hour of standing outside in the cold, warning cars to drive slow and careful, I had to come back inside from the cold, plus to help my coworker hold the fort down while she went to the bathroom. While it was quiet, I got on my phone to the duty manager to ask him why he has not sent gritters, but of course, no one answers the phone. Then I noticed a customer making his way in while shouting, "Are you okay, mate?" I look out the window and I see a man mounted on his motorcycle fueling up, giving a thumbs up, and I thought, oh man, here we go. I asked the customer what happened, and he tells me how he rode his bike over the ice and came off his bike. Of course, this happened so fast, and I was distracted calling the manager, so I didn't even see the man fall. But I thought CCTV caught this. So the guy who came off his bike enters, and there I am apologizing profusely. Me, "I just heard you fell off your bike. Are you okay?" Biker, "Just scraped my knee a little, and my elbow really hurts, but I'll be fine." Me, "Are you sure? Look, just come into the back with me. I'll get first aid to check you over, and coffee is on me." Biker, "Hey, relax. I'm not going to make a claim. All is fine." Me, "Okay, I'm really sorry this has happened to you, and it's part of my job to make sure you're okay." Biker, "I'm okay, and don't worry about the coffee." So the biker leaves, but bear in mind, he wasn't really wearing biker protection gear. In the end, we found bags of salt in some storage, and we took it upon ourselves to grit the forecourt ourselves, considering this was not our job to do so. A week later, my boss calls me on my day off to tell me there's a statement form I needed to fill out when I came into work next. I straight up ask, "This is about the guy who came off of his bike, isn't it?" She says, "Yeah, he's making a claim." I rolled my eyes and laughed and told my boss how the guy told me he wasn't going to make a claim, but of course I didn't blame him. I head into work the next day and write a full statement of what happened, what I saw. Well, I didn't see him fall, but footage showed he did indeed fall, and also wrote the exact conversation we had and left it at that, and just got on with the day. I come home, and later that night my boss calls me to ask me a very important question regarding if this guy will get his claim or not. And the question was, "The morning the guy fell off his bike, did you notice that there was ice before he arrived?" I straight up said, "Yes, I noticed there was ice. I noticed it when I walked over it and almost slipped and fell myself." There was a pause. Then I was asked, "Are you sure? You need to answer this honestly." And I said, "Of course I'm sure, and I'm being honest. Did my coworker lie and say no? And if I'm honest here, I don't really care if the biker gets his claim or not. I requested a gritter that morning and no one turned up. I even called DM to not ask, but tell him we needed a gritter. And I know that what happened isn't personally my fault, as I tried as far as my duties are to prevent accidents such as this from happening." The boss cuts me off and says, "Your answer here is very important," emphasizing the words "your answer" and "important." "You're saying you did not notice ice?" Then I said, "I'm not going to lie to possibly prevent a guy to win some 'I hurt myself' money. That's my answer and I'm sticking with it. Good night." I hung up. Don't know if that guy got his claim or not, but all this would have been prevented if someone did their job right. Am I the jerk for not telling my family that I have a kid? My wife, who's 35, and I, 36 male, live across the country from my family, and we only visit for weddings, funerals, and other big family-related events. Both my wife and I are deaf. I've never been close with anyone in my family. My grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, brother, and father, single dad, because they never bothered to look past this. Growing up, they only did the bare minimum. Fed me, clothed me, made small talk, but they never actually tried to get to know me or do anything beyond that. They didn't even learn sign language for me. I can talk and read lips, but I'm often left out of their conversations. They never bothered to get to know my wife either. They think that we're both stupid and incapable of anything just because we can't hear. We're in our 30s, and they still treat us like kids. We hate it, especially my wife, who has purposefully not visited them since 2017. I have a successful career, and so does my wife, and we've been completely on our own since college. We have a healthy bank account, we travel a lot, and we're ready to buy a nice house, but we're waiting for the housing market to cool down. Despite all that, my family thinks that my wife's family takes care of us, i.e. helps out financially, manages our finances, and walks us through everyday tasks like buying groceries or paying bills. They just won't believe that we're intelligent and perfectly capable people who have done well for ourselves all on our own. My older brother is not deaf, and he's very close with my whole family. He doesn't have his life together. He works odd jobs, he has unstable relationships, and he regularly mooches off of people. Yet, my family still reveres him as a smart and capable person. He's a narcissist who has always treated me poorly, and my family enables his bad behavior. That's another reason I keep them at arm's length. I hope I've given enough context, so now on to the issue. My wife and I have a 2-year-old daughter. When my wife was pregnant, we decided that we didn't want any of my family in our daughter's life. It wouldn't be healthy for her to be around people who constantly disrespect her parents, and if she turned out deaf, which she didn't, they would treat her the same way they treat us. No one in my family keeps in touch with me anyway, so I didn't see a reason to volunteer any information to them, so I never told them about my daughter. We keep her off of social media, and I visited them only once since she was born, but she stayed home with my wife. My brother somehow found out about my daughter's existence a few weeks ago. The whole family is very upset. They blamed my wife because they think that she controls me, which is not true at all. They accused me of denying my daughter a family that could have helped raise her in many different ways. They may have a point. I'm starting to wonder if my wife and I are selfish for keeping our daughter from a big family full of cousins her age because we have our own hang-ups about them. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. They wouldn't be a family that could have helped raise her, but they would try to take over since she is hearing and you aren't, and therefore incapable from their perspective. Keep your distance, enjoy your life and your family, and keep protecting her from them. Am I the jerk for refusing to clean more than half of mine and my boyfriend's flat on my days off since we split the rent 50-50? I have refused to spend my days off cleaning our flat and insist we split the cleaning duties 50-50. He earns double what I earn, and we split everything 50-50. I work 3 days per week, and he works 5 days per week. He gets angry that I don't do our mutual washing and cleaning on my days off since I'm in the flat a lot more than him. My argument is that I'm not a housewife, and I should be able to enjoy my days off how I want to since we're both paying the same amount to live here. We have a mutual cleaning day, and we both tackle all of the jobs together. If it's really that bothersome, I've suggested we get a cleaner, but he thinks I'm being ridiculous since I'm home so much, and he still gets angry. Am I the jerk for refusing to do more than half of the cleaning? Edit. We work the same number of hours. My duty is longer, so I get more days off. Edit 2. I've never thought on the fact that we split expenses 50-50 when there's such a wage discrepancy. We split rent and bills. All costs 50-50. He doesn't pay extra towards anything at all. Everything is 50-50. Also, I don't want you to think he does nothing around the house. He does pull his weight. He just keeps getting angry with me for not doing his washing or doing more of the housework on my days off, and wants me to be doing more since I'm home more. Not the jerk. If he thinks you should do more than him with the same amount of free time, he's telling you that he thinks his time is more valuable than yours. Stick to your guns on this one. Not the jerk. If he wants it 50-50 when it benefits him, it's only fair that it's 50-50 when it benefits you. Now, if he wanted to use some of that extra income to pay for a housekeeper to take on his share of chores, that's an option. Or he could see what the going rate would be for that and cover that portion of your half of the rent. But otherwise, this is classic have your cake and eat it too BS. You can have a housewife or you can have a working partner, but you don't expect a working partner to be a housewife. Not the jerk. This isn't the 1950s. You split the bills 50-50, split the cleaning 50-50, or hire a cleaner. Am I the jerk for telling my sister the real reason nobody goes to her home? I, 17 female, have a sister who's 25 who's married to John, and they have 4 kids together. Me and my sister have always had a pretty good relationship, but we got a bit distant when she moved into her home last year. Our family hosts a lot of dinners, as the family is pretty close, and the dinners are almost always at my parents' home, but my sister tends to beg that we all have a celebration at her home. The last time we all had a dinner party at her home, the house was trashed, and there was a lingering smell of dirty diapers, and the kitchen was a mess, dirty dishes and molding food on the table. And even though everyone stayed quiet, I could see the discomfort on their faces, and everyone ended up leaving early while I stayed behind to help her clean up. It made me a bit sad, so the weekend after the dinner party, I went over to have a chat with my sister about life, and her 3-year-old threw their dirty diaper at me. I looked at my sister, waiting for a reaction, but she just laughed it off, so I just got up and left. This isn't the first time her house has been like this, and my mom goes over a lot on weekends to try to help out, and when asked why she can't clean up after her kids, she just rolls her eyes and says, "That's not my job. They can take care of themselves, and I rather not get my nails dirty with them, especially when I rather have a cup of wine and watch TV." Mind you, her kids are 3 to 7 years old and totally cannot take care of themselves, especially because their dad works long hours. Last Monday, the whole family started texting in our family group chat, asking if the next dinner party would be at my parents' home. My sister started begging that we have it at her home since she's been wanting to try out a new recipe. Everybody just kind of ignored her and agreed with having the dinner at my parents' home. My sister didn't take the rejection well and started spamming the group chat asking why nobody ever wants to come over and how this is unfair and she feels like we all don't like her. I simply replied to her message saying, maybe if you cleaned up after your kids and tried putting in the effort to clean your home instead of going to the club with your friends, we would come over. My sister then left the group chat and called me, losing it on me, asking, how dare I embarrass her in front of the family? I replied I only wanted the best for my nieces and nephews, and the way she treats them was not okay. She then told me to mind my business and hung up the phone. Now my parents are siding with her and saying every mom deserves a break and to be able to have fun with their friends. But at this rate, my sister is going out every night, leaving them alone until her husband gets home, and me or my mom are usually the ones having to go over and ensure that they're safe. Am I the jerk? Karen wants to see my phone to make sure I wasn't taking her pics. I'm at the gym today and I'm walking towards an empty squat rack. 10 feet in front of and 1 foot to the right of my rack is another rack that a girl, Belinda, 20, is doing squats on. I went through my workout as normal. After every set, I check my phone for 5 to 20 seconds. I track every single set for every single lift in a spreadsheet to note how much I lifted and for how many reps. Sometimes I need to remind myself what I did last week to make sure I'm progressing. Sometimes I'm just checking the time. Sometimes I'm changing the song on my Spotify. Tonight, specifically, there was a very important basketball game being played, so I wanted to keep up with the score. So I used my phone a lot at the gym. I finished my third set when Belinda turns around and walks up to me with her phone up, yelling, "What are you doing? Creep, stop taking pictures of me." I'm caught completely off guard, but I explained that I'm just taking notes on what I'm lifting, that I'm not paying attention to her at all. She's being extra loud, so other people are looking at me. Plus, she's recording me, and she demands I go through my pictures and videos to show her what I was recording, and I delete the ones I took of her. I try to again explain I didn't record anything of her at all. She's yelling that if I have nothing to hide, I should have no problem showing her. So I insist on going to gym management. Once at the front, we both explain our stories. She's still recording. The normal gym attendee asks if I'm willing to show her, a neutral third party, my pictures and videos. She also says if I have nothing to hide, it's not a big deal and we can squash it right now. I refuse. I have my own private pictures in there, plus those of my girlfriend. I'm not gonna let anyone force me to show them some BS. I do show her my spreadsheet, which shows it's been revised over 15 times in the last 50 minutes, so that proves what I was using my phone for. That was received well, but they still expected me to prove my innocence. I told them they need to review the cameras. Apparently, only the manager has access to them, so I was told he'd call me before the end of the night, in about an hour. My girlfriend tells me I should have just let them look at my phone because she doesn't mind and it would have cleared this all up, but I mind. I get that someone wouldn't want someone taking pics of them, but violating my privacy to prove I wasn't taking pics of you crosses a line for me. Edit. Just talk to the manager. He checked the footage. He couldn't see what was on my screen in the footage, but he said it looks like I had my phone pointed towards the ground right in front of me the whole time. In his opinion, not high enough to even take a pic of her, and never angled in her direction. Apparently, I was gonna get banned from the gym if the cameras didn't absolve me. And also, I'm not the first person that has been accused by Brenda, but she legit had a creeper before. Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video. Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.